going on, Orlando Magic fans? Welcome back to the Six-Man Show Postgame Live, presented by Rock'em. Well, 82-0, not going to happen this year. Magic fall 124-111 in Memphis, a game we knew would be tough. I don't think we expected it to be that tough. We're going to talk about it here tonight on the show. I'm joined by Sam. Sam's hanging out with us tonight. Sam, how's it going, man?
It's going good. I at least appreciated that back half of that third quarter. I know that some people were upset about the false hope of it all, but honestly, you love seeing that the team doesn't lose the fight, even when it feels like the game's a little bit out of reach. So I'm not as upset as I possibly could be. Obviously taking it a little tough, but it's all good. Hey,
love that. Yeah, like we said, it's 82-game season. This is a reminder that it's a long marathon, not a sprint. No team has ever gone 82-0. It wasn't going to happen to the Orlando Magic, and unfortunately, they ran into a buzzsaw tonight in the Memphis Grizzlies. It was a little bit tough. But yeah, welcome to the show. My name's Kevin. He's Sam. Glad you guys are hanging out with us tonight. This Six-Man Show Postgame Live is presented by Rock'em. Rock'em, they're an amazing company based in Central Florida, just down the road from Kia Center. They make socks and underwear, including Orlando Magic socks and underwear. So definitely go check them out at rock'em.com. Just be sure you use this code MAGIC20 because it'll get you 20% off your order at rock'em.com all Orlando Magic season long, which we hope is very long. We hope it goes into May, and who knows how much longer than that. But yeah, as long as the Magic are playing, you can use that code MAGIC20 to get 20% off at rock'em.com. Yeah, Magic lose. Tough night. And they lose by 13. I think that scoreline might be a little bit generous because the Magic, by all intents and purposes, were absolutely blown out in this game. Trailed by as many as 29. Again, like Sam mentioned, credit to the Magic for making a comeback there in the third quarter. They went on a 21-0 run to get it down to an 8-point deficit, and then they just couldn't get past that. You know, 8-point deficit turned to 12, turned to 15. They got it back down to 10 again, and then they went back up, and then the rest was history. In the fourth quarter, they could never really get close. But yeah, credit to Magic for the fight, but a lot of sloppiness tonight for this Magic team. Part of that I give credit to Memphis for. They played like maniacs, like their pace was insane, and I think the Magic tried to keep up with that, and it didn't always work for them, but part of it was the Magic, just a lot of poor decision-making. We'll talk about it tonight, but we do have a couple super chats to kick us off tonight. First, it's Michael Martin says, don't we have an open two-way slot? Jay Huff, maybe? Well, unfortunately, that train has left the station. That boat has left the dock. Jay Huff, now with the Memphis Grizzlies, he's kind of locked in there. And so that would have been nice. Guy that Michael's referring to played for the Magic in Summer League. Obviously, it was talked about on the broadcast all night long. As a reminder, a little bit of salt in the wound that, yes, Jay Huff could have been the Magic's this summer, but they chose not to sign him. And then, he's been killing it for Memphis. Obviously, super happy for him. It's really cool that he's been able to do that. And then we got one from Shahin, says, not the best game. Defense was a letdown. Seeing Jet shoot was hopeful. That step back was cold. Hit the like button. Thank you, Shahin and Michael, for those super chats. And yeah, hit the like button if you're hanging out with us. If you're with us on a Saturday night at 10:35 after the Magic lost that game, you're a certified Magic maniac. So I can appreciate that. Sam can appreciate that. And by the way, there's 80 of you with us. I told Sam, I was like, hey, this is his first year doing these post-game lives. I was like, sometimes these blowouts, you'll get just a handful of people in here, and it's tough. But there's 80 of you wackos here. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight. But yeah, if you're here, hit that like button for sure. Here's the thing. I wanted to talk about Memphis first because I do want to give them a lot of credit. I thought Memphis, obviously, it's their home opener. They're going to come out with a lot of energy. The pace they played with, especially in that first half, was like dizzying. Like they were nonstop, go, 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 go. I think it caught the Magic off guard on both ends. And then I think the Magic tried to keep up with that pace, and it led to a lot of messy basketball for the Magic, a lot of turnovers. It really felt like a tale of two halves. What do you think about that first half before we talk about maybe the second half, Sam?
I think that it's exactly what you said. Is Memphis basically came out and they said, our pace isn't always going to lead to baskets, but our pace is going to create a frantic state of play, and that's what won them the game. So they basically said, the Magic have done a really, really good job of controlling the tempo, of controlling the speed of the game in their first two games against Miami and Brooklyn. And so if we can just throw a wrench in that and just completely throw them off, and you saw that, and that's where the youthfulness of the team really came through, right? Is Jalen as the lead guard frantic, right? He was like, oh, Ja, this other guy, who everyone considers to be a star point guard, like he's pushing the pace, so I got to match that, right? Like this is just the way this game's going to be. And it's like, no, as the lead guard, it's your responsibility to be like, who gives a crap what the pace is that the other team is setting? It's on you to make sure that even if the other pace is being sped up, you have to control what is within your area to control. And within the first, I don't know, 5 minutes of game time, I feel like we had already lost that. And so once the energy of the game got away from us and once the turnovers started, it was just they took that 10-point lead in the first quarter, and it just always felt like slightly too far for us to come back into it. And like they just had that 10-point lead. They kept that even once it got down to 8 in the third. We couldn't get back into it after that point.
Yeah, 14 turnovers for the Magic in the first half alone, which is wild. I mean, a lot of teams will have that in a game, and the Magic had it in the first half. It was just kind of crazy. We got another super chat here. This one's from Nick Monks. He says, bench Cole because AB can run that unit well, and Jet is legit. P5, bad day equals low effort on defense, and I love when people have career games only versus Orlando. Yeah, a couple of guys on Memphis. Memphis, first off, is a very good team, right? Obviously, last year, their record didn't fully indicate that because of the injuries, but they have a lot of weapons over there. But when guys that, you maybe not expect, like Santi Aldama, for example, having 22 on you, very talented guy. But that's kind of what Nick is talking about. We kind of have this reputation of some rando every night having a career night on us. But yeah, Santi Aldama definitely cooked the Magic. And Scottie Pippen Jr. ended up with 12 assists. I didn't even know he had 12 assists, a double-double for Scottie Pippen Jr. But yeah, that part was rough. And then to your point about Cole. Yeah, Cole. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry I did that to you there, Sam. There you go. Come back. Cole, yeah. Cole tonight ends up 2 of 3 from the field. So his best shooting performance of the season so far. 4 points, 2 assists, and a steal. 2 turnovers in 7 minutes, right? So Cole didn't get a lot of time tonight, but he definitely had some moments that I felt like hurt the team. Couple bad turnovers. I mean, both those turnovers bad in that 7 minutes. And then I think the play most people are going to think of is that 3 that he pulled up for. As you know, on the one hand, you can say, well, the Magic were hitting a lot of threes in that third quarter trying to get back into the game. On the other hand, you just can't. You cannot take that shot. You cannot take that shot in that situation. No. And I think that combined with the first 2 games, I think there's a lot of frustration right now amongst the fan base with Cole. And, we talked about it even before the season started. He was kind of in a funk in the second half of last season. We just hope he can snap out of it. I think everybody loves Cole as a person, obviously. Love the energy that he brings. He's a great guy for the team. But on the court, he's really been struggling. I mean, am I off, Sam? Like, what'd you think of Cole tonight?
I think that, if anything, and this feels really, really weird to say, is I think that I did mention this to you before the game, but you just pulled up the comment. The tech was so bad. Yeah. I was just about to talk about that. It wasn't just the shot. It was the fact that Franz was getting obliterated with no foul calls. Like that no call at the end of, I think it was the third quarter, or it was either at the end of the third or the very beginning of the fourth, where it was a no call, and then it ended up leading to a 3 down on the other end. And it was a huge 7-point swing. Franz gave the ref a look, and he was getting hammered. We saw the replay. There were probably 10 other no calls in that game worse than the Cole no call.
Yep.
And that's the one that you're in the game for 7 minutes. You have one thing that doesn't go your way. Other players are playing 20, 30 minutes of this game. They're getting hammered. You cannot get a technical foul in that situation. You can't. You have to read the game. And I think that, again, in the same way that, we're going to criticize Cole, but in the same way that Jalen allowed the momentum of the game as the lead guard to get out of hand in the first half, it's just a very young team showing their lack of situational awareness. And Jalen had an issue with that in the first half. Cole had an issue with that with the tech in the second half. And that leads me to say that third straight game where Anthony Black is the best point guard on this team. And he was the only player, I would argue, he was the only player that at no point in this game did I see him lose his composure. Every time he was in the game, he was where he needed to be. I think he missed a back cut at some point in the early fourth quarter, where it was missed assignment, wide open layup at the rim. But other than that, consistently, managing his defensive assignments, consistently managing the ball, didn't throw the ball away a ton, driving to the rim, finishing at the rim when other players who are older than him weren't finishing at the rim. AB had a really, really, really good game. And I know that you invested in KCP. so that you could push Jalen over to the 1. It's so tough. This is going to create such a dip because if we go forward and we're playing really, really good teams like this, and Jalen is just not looking like the guy, what do you do? It's like, because you invested all this money in KCP, you invested all this money to Jalen, all this money to Paolo, and then, or all this money to Franz, and Paolo's about to be a max guy who gets put on the bench. Someone is going to be getting paid $20+ million a year to be a sixth man, and that doesn't look any better, but it might be what needs to happen. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think not even part, like a big part of the struggles, I think, tonight was Memphis's pace. And so if there's a silver lining here, not every team's going to play like that. Like, again, Memphis was crazy in that first half, pushing every possession, make, miss, turnover, normal out of balance play out of a timeout. Didn't matter. Like, they were going 100 miles an hour the whole time. Again, most of the NBA is not going to play like that. But that led to, like you mentioned, Jalen turned the ball over. He's only down for 2 turnovers tonight. That shocks me. Like, I felt like he had at least 4. Like, there were several moments where bad passes, and maybe they were just, strange deflections that weren't marked as turnovers. I don't know. But regardless, he goes down with 2 turnovers. Franz with 6 turnovers tonight. So the pace, again, I think it really, really hurt the Magic. Nick Monks with another super chat says the Cole no-look pass to Gary was so unnecessary. Yeah. Again, just the decision-making over the course of those 7 minutes from Cole, not what you want to see. All right, let's take a look at some of the chat here before we look at the box score. Magic Prods, this is facts. He says, time for 81-1. Here's the deal. You can't go 81-1 without having a loss. All right, so here was the loss tonight. 81-1 is on the way. Yeah, thanks for that. Let's see here. Yeah, Luis Rosario Jet coming in, hitting 3 threes in a row. Yeah, that was fun. It was kind of interesting. It looked like he wanted to pick on Yuki there a little bit. He saw the assignment that, Yuki was guarding him, and I think he took offense to that and decided he wanted to do that. Let's see. Yeah. Well, someone's trolling us in the chat. I'm not even going to put that up there. Let's see here. Yeah, a couple of you talking about the fake comeback. Yeah, they're playing with our hearts a little bit here. Down 29, you cut it down to 8, and you're thinking, what? Sorry, it was 29. That was the biggest lead, 29 points. The franchise record, by the way, for a Magic comeback is 24. And so, if they had come back tonight and won the game, it would have been the franchise record for biggest comeback in history. But alas, that didn't happen. Yeah, that third quarter was a lot of fun. Again, a lot of the comments here are talking about Cole. We just talked about Cole. I'm not going to, beat that dead horse. The only hero says first half was unwatchable. So many bad turnovers and bad shots. Third was great. Glad they made it interesting, but didn't have enough. On to the next. The thing with like a third quarter, I know this team is too good now for pure moral victories, right? I'm never going to sit here after a loss and say, well, the good, But if I could grab just like a sliver of a moral victory, it is that. Like a comeback like that, even though it was short, it does help the psyche of this team as we go through the rest of the season, that even if you are down 20, 25, heck, 30, you know that you can get it back to manageable. Now, obviously, they ran out of steam in that fourth quarter, and, basically once the Grizzlies kind of locked back in, they were comfortable. But again, it's that mentality, long season, they can come back to this. Memphis, hey, remember Memphis? We were down 29 and we had an 8-point game. Hopefully it can help them out in the future. Let's see. The only hero says, I think Jay Huff wanted a roster spot. Yeah. I think he wanted to show the Magic tonight. He's got that patented like reverse dunk thing down. He had 3 of them tonight. He's had several of them, in preseason I saw. And he's, hey, again, I'm happy for him. I always love guys that work their tail off and come up in summer league and all that kind of stuff and make a way. Janine says, don't forget to hit the like button for Kevin and Sam, MVPs of the night. You know who my MVP of the night is? First off, thank you, Janine. My actual MVP of this game is Wendell Carter Jr. I thought Anthony Black was great, and maybe he was the best, but I think especially in that first half, Wendell, although you say he scored 3 points, Wendell single-handedly kept the Magic close in that first quarter. The Magic should have been down 20 plus, but Wendell, I think he had 5 rebounds in the first quarter. He was responsible for Zach Edey's 2 fouls and one of Jaren Jackson Jr.'s 2 fouls. So he got them in foul trouble just because he was hustling. Like, third game this season, double-digit rebounds for Wendell. Magic fans last season, that was their biggest gripe with him, was not hitting the glass, and he's had double-digit rebounds in 3 games this season. I mean, I know he doesn't jump off the box score. He was 1 of 6 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. You want to see him hit a 3. You want to see him not go 50% from the line. But again, the energy, the effort, the hustle on the glass, it's at least another positive that we've seen from Wendell for this season. What do you think about Wendell?
I agreed. I think that I think my biggest issue is, again, I talked about how Cole and Mo were really responsible for killing a lot of that momentum late third, early fourth. And I think that with the way that Wendell was playing in the first quarter, I legitimately don't understand how you don't take, like, maybe you're running his minutes up a little high for the night, but like I don't understand how you don't take Mo out in that situation. You can see that he's complaining about what are clearly fouls. Like that bothered me, man. It takes a lot for me to be bothered by like one of our guys complaining, but like that little chicken wing against Jaren Jackson where he clearly pushed off and then was like, "No, what are you talking about?" Like that. I was like, "Bro, it was so clearly a foul. Like it was not." Again, same thing as Cole, but with how Wendell played, I don't understand how you don't take Mo out, who is actively negating a lot of the momentum, and put in one of the only sources of your momentum throughout the game back into the game in that situation. I understand that I'm sitting here on a podcast. I am not an NBA head coach for a reason, so I'm not going to act like I am one. But that's just one of those things that, to me, it's just like I don't get the decision making there. And I really do think that there were some situations where Mo was on the floor when I think that, Mo's probably ran with him a little longer than maybe I would have liked, even if it was just an extra 90 seconds. Because like you're going to tell me that Wendell having 33, 34 minutes as opposed to 30 when they have an off day tomorrow is gonna kill him. Like, I don't know. But
yeah. Calm Knight says Grizzlies are just nice, man. Facts. I mean, I said on last night's show, like the Grizzlies were going to be the toughest test we've had this season. Brooklyn's not good. I don't think Miami's very good. I think Memphis is going to be head and shoulders above a team like Miami. So, yeah, it was the first real test for the Magic tonight, and unfortunately couldn't get it done. Not even really close. And then Monday's going to be another test. Indiana comes to town. That's a team that Tyrese Halliburton has had a miserable start to this season. I think he's shooting like 6% from three, like crazy. So he's due for a good game. Hopefully he doesn't have that on Monday. But let's see. I think we had a couple super chats here. One from Shane says, learn from the loss and move forward. Facts. That's one of the Jamal Mosley's like biggest things. Don't get too high. Don't get too low, whether it's in a game or after a game or whatever. It's a long season. 82 games is a long time, guys. April is a long way from now. And fortunately, I think NBA players, because they're professionals, and NBA coaches, because they're professionals, are probably better at this than Magic fans. Or not just Magic fans, sports fans, NBA fans. Because those of us that like live and die by this team, we get frustrated after one loss. But fortunately, they're more professional than we are, and they can go sleep at night and just get ready for the next game, which, I can always appreciate that. And then Nick Monks says, your thoughts on what causes P5 to struggle? Shane and Nick, thank you so much for those super chats. P5, not great last night. Not great tonight. 4 of 12 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 7 of 13 from the line. That's 53% from the free throw line tonight. 7 boards, 3 assists, a steal, 3 turnovers, 16 points, and he was a minus 15. I know I've said this several times. I don't think it can be overstated about the pace that the Grizzlies played with in that first half, and I think it just threw our guys totally off. And I don't know if part of that blame goes on Jamal Mosley, maybe, and his staff for not having this team prepared. I don't know how much of that is. I didn't watch Memphis's first 2 games. I don't know how much of that is Memphis just came out like a bunch of maniacs in their home opener. I don't know where the line is there, or I don't know if it was just the Magic players. Maybe they were prepared by the coaching staff, but they failed to execute. I don't know what it is, but I really think that played into it. Part of it also is Memphis has some decent defenders over there. Obviously, Jaren Jackson Jr. is one of the best defenders in the league. A lot of times, Paolo was matched up with him, and so it's also a second night of back-to-back. He played just under 39 minutes last night in Orlando, and you turn around and you go to Memphis. I think all those things can combine for something like this, but it doesn't help when the guys around you aren't really helping you out much, except Franz, by and large, outside of the turnovers, I thought was really good tonight. Jalen had a great third quarter. Anthony Black was great every second he was on the floor. But outside of that, Paolo just didn't get a lot of help. And so when that happens, the defenses are just going to make life really difficult for him. And they did that. They did that tonight, and Paolo unfortunately wasn't able to snap out of it. Let's take a look at the box score since we're talking about all this fun stuff. Here we go. We talked about Franz. I just went through his line. I'll add that he had 7 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals. A lot of steals tonight for the Magic, 10. Jalen ended up with 4 steals, by the way. I know I'm skipping ahead, but A lot of steals for the Magic. We just talked about Paolo Wendell, 3 points, 10 boards, 2 assists, and a block for him. KCP, absolutely silent tonight. 3 points, 1 of 6 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, 1 free throw. Definitely need him to be shooting the basketball a little bit better than he has so far this season through 3 games. And we have Jalen Suggs, who was pretty bad, I would say, offensively speaking, except for that third quarter. He ends up going 6 of 17 from the field. That's 35%. 5 of 13 from 3. Hit all 4 of his free throws. 7 boards, 3 assists, 4 steals, 5 blocks. That's 5 stocks for Jalen tonight. And only 2 turnovers. Again, we talked about it earlier. That's surprising to me. Felt like he had more than 2. Oh, I did this thing where I kicked Sam out again. I'm so sorry, Sam. Sam's just disappeared. And I can't get him back. I can't get him back. So at least you can hear Sam. I'm sorry, Sam. I'll bring you back in a second.
No problem, man. Don't worry about it.
To the bench, we have Anthony Black, 10 points, 3 assists. And he also was credited with a block, which is cool. Did have 2 turnovers. Gary Harris is a bit of a mystery to me. I don't know what happened. Ends up with just playing 4 minutes tonight. I would have liked to see Gary a little more than that. I don't know if something's going on. You know, we heard pregame that Tristan Da Silva is going to be out for this game due to an illness. And whenever you just see illness, you start to get a little bit nervous because illnesses can spread through a basketball team like super fast. And so obviously I'm totally speculating here, but I just hope that illness hasn't started, getting to other guys. But yeah, Gary only plays 4 minutes. Cole tonight, we talked about him, 7.5 minutes. Mo Wagner, mixed bag. I thought that he had some good moments, but I agree with Sam. Basically towards the end of that third quarter run, kind of was a tough moment there for him. Jet comes in, gets some meaningful playing time for the first time in his career tonight. Didn't really do much with that, but in garbage time there, again, matched up against Yuki of Memphis. Ends up going 4 of 6 from the field and 3 of 5. And then Goga, Caleb, Mac, McClung, Corey Joseph, and Trevor LaQueen all got some time there at the end. And credit to them, they played better in tonight's quote-unquote garbage time than they did on Wednesdays. So I'll give them some credit there. A couple other numbers I'll just throw out there. The really big ones for me, points in the paint. Memphis ends up with 62 points in the paint compared to your 34. That is hideous. 62 points in the paint you give up. And it was all kinds of buckets for them. It was, a lot of back screens, and it was the lobs, and I mean, and what's his name, Scottie Pippen Jr. just getting to the rim, a whole bunch of easy stuff, which you hate to see. 24 fast break points for Memphis. Magic never led in this game. The big one for me, though, 66 bench points for Memphis compared to 45 for the Magic. 45 bench points isn't that bad, actually. It's actually pretty good, but 66 bench points is crazy. Obviously, Santi Aldama led the way there for Memphis. Magic ended up with 19 turnovers, which when you have 14 in the first half, it's pretty impressive to only have 5 in the second half, so I'll give them some credit there. But yeah, you just could not bounce back from the first half. Let's take a look at some. We got one more super chat here from Michael Martin. Says next step will be how we handle how we handle success moving forward. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Magic riding the high of the first 2 games, dominant victory on Wednesday, relatively comfortable victory last night in the home opener. That's a great point. Last year the team 47 wins. First time kind of tasting that success, coming into this season with the higher expectations. You expect them to win at least maybe around the same number of games, 47 wins, but we'll see. But yeah, it's a great question. It's something all young teams that are improving have to figure out is how do you handle tough nights, but you're right, how do you handle success? So yeah, thank you so much for that super chat there. Let's see here, a couple more. We'll hit some more from the chat here. Let's see. Chris D says AB continues to impress with his consistency. I mean, he's been super consistent. We talked about it in preseason. Actually, when you were on with me, Sam, for the Philly game, I think it was the Philly game, whatever game it was, where like his confidence level is just different. And you see that even tonight. Like there were some times tonight that I was pretty disappointed with certain guys being scared to attack the rim, or they'd get to the rim and be scared to finish. I think especially of like Jalen when he had that fast break with Ja, like chasing him down, and then he just like froze and ended up, the play I'm talking about? Like Anthony Black has no problem right now getting to the rim and throwing it up there, and he's hitting it. So I know you talked about it, but like I think Anthony Black has been definitely, I think consistent might be the best. He might have been the most consistent player through 3 games. I don't know. But yeah, pretty good.
I'd say I'd still give that to Franz probably, just because like you take away the 6 turnovers from tonight, and I still think like he has been. It's harder to be okay. Anthony Black has probably been more overall consistent, but if you think about it relative to how much they're being asked to do,
Right.
Franz is being asked to do more than AB, and so I think that Franz, comparably to what he has been given and the load he's asked to carry for the team, I would put more weight on his consistency than AB's. But I still would agree that whether it's 1 and 2 or 2 and 1, AB and Franz have easily been the most consistent guys on this team so far, and everyone else has had at least one bad night. Some have had multiple already. But I mean, you look at Franz and Jalen combined were 39% from 3 on 23 attempts tonight.
Yeah.
Like I was looking at it to complain about their 3-point shooting. And then I was like, well, I mean, if they're shooting 39% from 3, if Franz is shooting 40% and then Jalen's 5 of 13, like maybe you're like, okay, Jalen, you don't need to be taking 13 attempts. But Franz, 23 points, take away those 6 turnovers, 23, 4 of 10 from 3. He made more 3-point field goals than 2-point field goals tonight.
Yeah.
He had 3 2-pointers made. He had 4 3-pointers made. Like Franz is playing great, and I would argue he was one of the biggest aspects of that third quarter comeback. But I mean, if they can just figure out if AB can figure out a way to just maintain that consistency moving forward, and just continue to figure out, it comes back to it. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I don't understand how you leave him. Like maybe you leave him on the bench because that's really the best option that you have right now. And then defensively, obviously, but then AB's not really that big of a step back defensively because he's got the 6'7" length and he's been playing great on ball, off ball, whatever. But AB is creating, even with the loss tonight, some really, really difficult but good difficult questions on this roster. And that's what you want, is you want guys who are young, and you'd rather have an abundance of talent and a lack of opportunity than a lack of talent and an abundance of opportunity. And that's where we've been as Magic fans the last couple of years is, we have too many holes that we need to fill and no one who's able to fill them. Whereas now we're like, oh, do I want Jalen's 40% 3-point shooting and all defensive second team in the starting lineup? Or do I want AB, who is turning into a great finisher at the rim and also a great defender and also a good orchestrator of the offense? I think it's just a matter of Jamal figuring out what do we need more of moving forward. And then if in the bigger games we see a lot more struggles like we did tonight, if we go up against some teams that don't have as heavy of a pace, I think Monday's going to be huge because the Pacers do run the offense quickly. Like we remember them last year, there's a lot of running and gunning with that team. And if Jalen struggles again on Monday against a quicker pace team like that, maybe once we circle back around to having a less quick pace team that we play, and if we still continue these struggles, I think AB is creating some really interesting conversations that we're going to have coming forward.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see. On the flip side of it, though, it is good to have someone that can handle that second unit because, let's say if you do make that switch, not saying it's going to happen, but if you do, that bench unit outside of Anthony Black, at least offensively, because Cole isn't playing well, it's like, where do you get your buckets from? So again, it's a tough decision that might end up happening. Do you believe in says, nice hanging with Kev, Sam, and Magic Maniacs even after the L, ignoring anyone who clearly isn't here to enjoy it with us. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Let's see. Janine says, winning 3 home openers in 4 nights just proved to be too much. It's tough. It's tough. Hey, there's a lot of emotions that go into it. It's a big thing. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Soul Train says, still have a lot of games remaining. Hope they continue to improve. Let's go Magic. Let's go Soul Train. In a second, we're going to look at these scores from around the league tonight. There's a couple that, impact the Magic a little bit, but yeah, let's see. A couple people mentioned this, not having Jonathan Isaac tonight, pretty big, I think, obviously, especially if, you give up that many points and whatever we did in that first half, you immediately, want to have your best defender out there. So I think that's a very fair point. We hope to see Jonathan Isaac back on Monday against the Pacers, but yeah, I don't know if he could have, salvaged the 29-point deficit, but I think he could have at least, maybe limited it a little bit, but who knows, obviously. Okay, let's take a look at some scores around the league. Let's see. Oh, I know what I did. Here we go. Now I rescued Sam. Sam's back on our web browser here. Okay, scores around the league tonight. Magic lose. Yeah, we know that. Okay, Spurs Rockets. 12 seconds left. 2-point game. That's interesting. Let me come down here to the final scores. Yeah, Miami ends up beating Charlotte by 8 in Charlotte, 114-106. That was a game I thought maybe the Hornets could actually snag and surprise the Heat and the NBA, because I think Miami's probably going to just not be good. But hey, Jimmy Butler bounces back. He had 3 points, 2 or 3 points, I can't remember, against us on Wednesday. Ends up with 26, 8, and 8 tonight. So, wow, what a bounce back for him. They beat the Hornets. The Pistons made it interesting down the stretch. They were down by 1 million early in this game, but the Pistons came back, but they lost to the Celtics 124-118.
42-point first quarter for the Celtics.
Yeah, for the Celtics.
Probably.
The Cavs continue destroying their opponents. The Cavs, get this. How about this to start a season? They played Toronto, Detroit, and Washington to start their season. They blew all 3 of them out. So, hey, credit the Cavs for beating the teams they're supposed to beat. But, that's a pretty soft schedule there for the Cavs. As far as the Eastern Conference goes, the Bulls lost to the Thunder by 19, and then the Raptors lost to the Timberwolves 112-101. And I think that's all the Eastern Conference folks. Yeah. At this point, I'm stalling because I'm curious how this Rockets-Spurs game is going to go. But in the meantime, we can take a look at some of these standings. Magic are going to fall right in the middle of the Eastern Conference here at 2-1. Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta is still undefeated as well, so the Magic trailed them. But yeah, obviously, all in all, 2-1. I think most people expected 2-1 on the week for the Magic, but definitely not the end of the world going into this week. So yeah, coming up at this point, again, I am going to leave this. Okay, it looks like the Spurs are going to walk away with this one. But yeah, so looking at this week, Sam, like we said, we got Indiana on Monday. That's going to be a tough one. I believe, actually, let me double check this. I think they're on the second night of back-to-back. I think they play tomorrow. And they do. They host the Sixers at 3:30. So they have an afternoon game tomorrow hosting Philadelphia. So that'll be interesting. Magic will have a little bit of a rest advantage there. Obviously, they'll be on their way home here any minute now back to Orlando. So the Magic will have the rest advantage. That's good. If you ask me, I think that's probably a game you got to win. You're at home. I know the Pacers are good, but again, they'll be on a back-to-back and you won't. Hope to see Jonathan Isaac back. But yeah, I think that's a game that hopefully the Magic can pull out. That'll be interesting, though. Interesting to see if Tyrese Haliburton bounces back from that one. So, well, last look here at the chat before we call this one tonight. Nick Monk says, Kevin, I think free throw shooting continues to be an issue. Yeah, it definitely does. Definitely does. Paolo was not good tonight. I think Wendell was 50% from the line, a couple others. Yeah, hate to see that. And no one's going to hate that more than Paolo, by the way. So, like, we can sit here and talk, but I guarantee you that's what Paolo is thinking about tonight. Like, that's the beauty of Paolo Banchero. He hates that just more than any of us do. Steven says, wait, Jalen didn't struggle tonight, or am I wrong? Ja was held in check. I mean, the Magic definitely did a good job on Ja tonight defensively. I think if there's one thing defensively to give credit, for the Magic, it would be Ja. I need to see what he ended up with statistically. Ja ended up with 16 points on 4 of 12 shooting, 0 of 6 from 3. Did get 8 free throws and 10 assists. The thing with Ja, he was definitely dishing pretty well tonight, but that's because the Magic kind of held him in check as far as scoring the basketball. So you're right, that was good. But the issue was, those 10 assists, he was finding a lot of other guys available. So let's see here. Last couple ones. Ja missed a lot of open threes. Do you believe in says a W equals pizza and we can always celebrate with jam hot? What can we eat to console ourselves? I mean, here's what I'm going to do right after this. I'm going to go have a bowl of cereal. That's my comfort food. I actually have a bowl of cereal every night before I go to bed. Fun fact about me. It's kind of an addiction, but I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to eat. I hope all of you can find something tasty to enjoy. Sam, any last thoughts before we call this one tonight here on this lovely Saturday night?
What type of cereal?
Tonight is going to be Life cereal. I believe I still have some Cinnamon Life left.
Ooh, Cinnamon Life.
Cinnamon Life is great. It's good. Yeah.
I think that this is fine. I think that a back-to-back early in the season against a team like the Grizzlies, I think that this fan base needed this game because it brought us a lot kind of back down to earth, and a lot of us were getting a little crazy in terms of the hype and everything. And so a game this early is it's actually, I think, for the best. I think it's best for the players. I think it's best for the fan base because you get that out of the way. You still have a little bit of positives to it. It's not like it was a 50-point loss. You know what I mean? But I think that these next two games, Indiana, Chicago, you got to take care of Indiana on the second half of that back-to-back. coming into Orlando. You got to take care of Chicago because first 4 games of November are at Cleveland, at Dallas, at OKC, at Indiana, and then at home against New Orleans. So you got to go into those 4 games winning these next 2. And then I'm really interested to see what the team is going to look like those first 4 games in November, because I think that's going to tell us a lot about what this team is actually going to look like this year.
Yeah, and that Dallas OKC is a back-to-back. What a rough back-to-back that is right there. Dallas OKC 2 nights. That's tough. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Hopefully the Magic get some rest tomorrow. Again, hopefully we'll see Jonathan Isaac on Monday. But yeah, we're done for the night. Hey, 2-1 to start the season. We'll take it. Tonight was always going to be tough. But yeah, we're looking forward to Monday. That's next time we'll be joining you after Monday's game against Indiana. It is at home, so hopefully if you're in Central Florida, you can go check out the game. For Sam, I'm Kevin. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. And as always, let's go Magic.